Hello, Nick, Salve, Ohana, Cosmos. This is Magic Mirror Work, March 12th, 2025. It's Wednesday. Just came off an amazing breath session last night with some beautiful friends and really enjoying it. And then waking up this morning, sleeping in and practicing pumping Kundalini energy. And then as I'm coming down here, just contemplating magic mirror work and what it means. And I was like, oh, do I create my own little video about that? And I thought, not yet, because I'm going to couch it within here first. This is not something that I anticipate anyone to really watch through. Watch at your own discretion. I'm going to jump all over the place. But right now, first, I'm actually going to talk about magic mirror work as I see it right now. And one of the big things is the whole idea of the Akashic Records. And I'm saying this to you because I'm doing some teaching, but I'm also saying it to me because I'm reminding myself of where I'm at this current moment. And the Akashic Records, the idea that every single thought, feeling, impulse, action is being recorded in every moment. Like there's everything in this holographic universe is actually being recorded. This magic mirror work is my own practice. If that was the case, am I actually willing to see myself? And then if that was the case, was that put out there? Am I actually willing to get more in alignment with who I actually am? And that's the piece of almost integrity. It's like knowing that what I do behind closed doors versus what I do in public are one and the same. And it's a practice because I'm human too. So there's parts of myself that I have shame and guilt over still. That's a big programming. Parts that I'm really proud of and want to showcase. Parts that I'm angry about. Parts I don't even know. And that's part of this magic mirror work, is doing it so much that the unconscious mannerisms, words, actions are there, and they can be tracked over time as well. The growth is tracked over time, but as well the patterns that keep persisting are tracked over time. It's like, how did you not notice you were doing that? And then as well, this whole idea these days of, if I, for example, going into politics or going for any position of leadership or power, then my past is going to be examined to the minutia. And now it's like it's all out there. It's like it's almost impossible not to find something that could be used against me. And how am I willing to be in the face of that? Because the old me was like perfection. I want you to only see the perfect side of me. And I could see that. I had that call the other day. And now it's like, okay, I'm so frickin' imperfect. There's perfection in that. There's humanness in that. And I'm enjoying the humanness of it more. It's almost breaking down and accepting myself the way I am. And that's the magic mirror work part as well. And then as well for myself, this magic mirror work, the magic is by doing it, it's showcasing who I'm willing to be. First for myself, but also for others. Like there's a part of this magic mirror work in the secret back of my mind. It's like, this is marketing. This is a way to promote. This is a way to distinguish. This is a way to make myself distinct. This is a way to create separation. So there's that part too. There's strategy behind it. And then there's the authentic part. When I started doing this, I didn't know why I started doing these recordings like 12 days before that in January. Part of it's because I got this new technology. I got the new phone. I hadn't gotten the gimbal yet. That was only just before the beginning of the trade war that I got the new gimbal. And it was even more exciting because like, oh, there's technology and there's this new microphone. Oh, there's more technology. And then recognizing, now that I'm here, I'm like, every morning I'm excited. I'm excited to jump and to see myself and to see what wants to come out. And then to do the DeMartini work, to do the affirmation work. And part of the magic mirror is to actually follow through on the daily practices, the daily habits, because I'm making myself accountable. And then part of it as well is to be able to be with, I don't know what I'm saying right now. Like there's a part that feels like I need to keep going because it's the performative piece, the piece that's like looking at, hey, this is not for me, this is for you. And if I don't make it entertaining and enlivening all the time, then what's going on? And that's part of myself when I'm in a crowd. And that's part of not trying to blame, but what I would have observed in my mother. She's a hostess, she's an entertainer. And so when there are people around, she'll keep going until they're gone. And that's what I used to do too. People come, I go until they're gone. And now I'm much better at, all right, my job isn't to constantly entertain you. If you can't entertain yourself, then why are we doing this? My job isn't to say, oh, there's no need to help with any of the cleaning. It's like, no, I'm going to take all the help I can get, because if I make this easy, then I'm more likely to do this again. And then I love that phrase, easy, lucrative, and fun. That's work, right? If I can make it easy, lucrative, and fun, those were all the things that I did yesterday. It felt easy, it was lucrative, and it was fun. Leading an amazing couple through breath. I told them, you guys are a power couple. You guys have done this, and you're continuing to do this, and seeing each other, and exposing yourself to each other, and still loving each other, and being able to share what it is that you want to work on in front of each other. Like, that's something I'm still working on in real time with my beloved. Like, what am I actually working on right now that I'm truly working on? Oh, there's a train coming by, so let's turn on the noise canceling. So magic mirror work, what else is there? I'm wondering what the world would be like if we all just did this. Like, there's all these little practices, like, what's truly accessible to us? This is one of the things almost all of us have some kind of phone with a recording device now. Recording yourself, uploading it to some kind of channel. And what would happen if we all did? Like, how many gigabytes of content are there? Like, in the last couple months, I've created over probably 200 gigabytes of stuff. Crazy when I imagine it. It's about 8 a.m. here right now. The family's gonna wake up in the next couple of hours probably. I'm really proud of myself last night because my little man woke up and I just happened to wake with him, and I was able to soothe him, and I don't think it woke my beloved up. And that was a new point, and it was great. And it was probably the time I was about to get up. I was like, oh. And instead of getting up, I got to soothe him, stay in bed, and I stayed in bed, and I slept until now. And then when I woke up, I was like in the half waking dream state, just enjoying the dream, enjoying the bosom that I was in. Man, Nipple Nation, hilarious. And then also enjoying, oh, there's a sensation I can actually pump the pelvic floor, the Kundalini energy, and see what's going on there, and see how long I can pump for, without trying to make that the goal. Because that's the thing. It's like, oh, when I got to about 200, it's like, why am I just continuing to do this? Let's play it up. Let's switch it up. One of the ideas that came up last night was the idea of stiffness or tension or holding the body in a certain posture. And whether you're, typically I see for myself, gymnasts, figure skaters, ballerinas, there's a certain way you're supposed to hold yourself where it's like, tuck in the gut, tighten the butt. And if you're doing that all the time and never learning to relax, then that's a stiff person syndrome. You're not actually making yourself stronger, you're making yourself more rigid, less range of motion, less flexibility, less creativity, less movement of the cerebral spinal fluid as well. You're actually creating the kind of lack of mobility that we fear when we're older. But then changing that patterning can be such a challenge, because then you're thinking I have to try. And that's part of the thing with the older I get, the more I think I have to try to do something, the more I'm just fighting over another. It's a pattern over a pattern, that versus the remembering that there was a time that I just let my gut out, that I didn't matter how I felt. I didn't need to stretch all the time. I was just stretching. Life was stretching. Life was movement. Life was flow. And that's what I'm reminding myself, especially when I'm with my son. How do I just flow? Oh, it's okay to move. It's okay to move. It's okay to move. And that's what I'll be doing today too. I won't be just sitting here the whole time. I'll be doing this for a bit, but then I'll move around and be willing to be like, oh, we're going to shift and adjust, especially since there's enough light today and it's enough natural light that I can move around and not have to turn on any lights or anything else. And then how is that in life? Like, it's like, oh, I've noticed myself chasing money or feeling jealous or comparing and all this stuff. Now I must actively fight this feeling versus just accept the feeling. Okay, there's a part of me that's jealous and judging, comparing myself to my own brother. And so when I see someone else doing the same thing, I can see the same part. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you do that. And then noticing whenever I have that, oh, I can't believe you do that, often it's probably because there's an unknown part of me that's related to that. In this case, it's even more obvious. It's like, I've got a brother in a way that I'm infatuated with, using the DeMartini language. I'm like, oh my God, he's doing so many things right. But it allows me then to demonize some things like, oh, I can't believe he's not doing that. Can't believe he's not doing that. Versus seeing the balance of the human being. And part of it, seeing, someone gave me this insight, it's like, separation from my own family. Love my family. They're amazing. Like, I've had a great childhood. There's none of that, and I'm going to use this term, capital T trauma there. And there's a part that I was so invested in the blessing of my father, so invested in that paternal lineage. Like, I must, that without creating actual physical separation, talking separation, distance, because for the longest time, I was the one that they couldn't get a hold of. And part of it was because I didn't know how to find myself other than completely separating. And even then, I wasn't really finding myself. I was just running away from who I didn't want to be. And now I'm actually coming back to see them more, chat with them more, wanting to learn from more, wanting to hear more about my childhood, because I'm like, okay, I want to find myself and be there in that wisdom and notice when I'm losing myself, because that's my best teacher. It's a similar thing to spending so much time with my family and my beloved, being like, okay, I'm willing to actually be there. And I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Kyle Kingsbury, because he helped me see this. It's like, how do I create and grow and be, not in spite of my family, but with my family and learn from them? And that's what I'm seeing him doing. And every post he's with his family, he's grinding out meat, he's showing them how to live the earth, he's unschooling. Like, I can totally see that. And he's an inspiration in that way. And I want to live like that and draw in people around me who also want to live like that. Like, it's so much fun to see this, and it's possible. It's possible, it's completely possible, but it shifts the goalpost a little bit. Yeah, someone who used to be totally opposite of me, like, right? Like, totally physical, totally brawling, totally into the aggression mindset, supposedly, but then also so spiritual in his own way. So willing to keep looking and diving in and diving in and diving in and digging into things voraciously. And that's what I'm remembering. It's like, for the longest time, I was considered smart because the things I was reading and the way I was studying was smart. But I wasn't enjoying it, so the moment I didn't have to do it, I'd stop. Versus now, I'm digging into whatever I want to, and I keep digging into it. And when I stop, I'm just like, I'm going to stop right now. Like, even reading the Map of Consciousness, I was like, you know what, right now I'd just rather read something fun. Right now, I'd rather watch the movie Conclave, for example, and take a look at how this fantasy of the next Pope election, because that's probably going to happen soonish, is going to happen, and how political it actually is. Like, it is cutthroat. It is cutthroat, I can imagine there. And that whole idea of the only person I want to vote in is a person that doesn't want it. There's a fallacy to that, because it eliminates people who really actually want to do good. It's trying to say, oh, I have to pretend to be humble in order so that you don't think that I want it. It's just another game along another game. There's 80% truth there, though. Someone who only wants it purely for the power, no. But someone who wants it because they're really clear that they want it. Like, right now, I want to be CEO, leader of my company. I want to actually hold space, breath, ceremony, partner with amazing teams. And there's a part that's so pervasive. I want to passively just imagine it's going to grow on its own naturally, not do anything. No, it's both and. And if I just try to keep pushing, promoting self, that doesn't serve. It's the consistent action. The consistent action with my founding group. Okay, what are we willing to look at? What barriers are we willing to reduce? And that's a piece too. That's what I see for others. But let's look at it for myself first. How do I keep removing the barriers that I put in place? Because there's so many barriers that I put in place to working with me. Part of it even is, one of the things is a high cost or exchange, so to speak. If I was doing what I was doing right now and saying, oh, I'm going to charge $50, I'll have a different clientele, but I'd probably be much busier. And then I could feel good about that. But that's not what I want right now. What I really want is for this to be easy, lucrative, fun work, for there to be a real growth, for me to be able to create partnerships with people where it feels like sustainable, fair exchange. And I'm growing not just the hourly rate, which is what it feels like a lot of time, to the energetic exchange that's there that continues to ripple. Because the work I do, it's not about, oh, just doing a little bit of work and it's done. It's how do I have this ripple continue and this momentum continue? And that's why I really appreciate when people come to things regularly. When they come to the breath, When they come and do private breath regularly too, I'm just inviting them, hey, what's your own commitment to yourself? What's your own commitment to yourself? What's my commitment to myself? And that's part of it with whether I'm working with Elena, whether Ellie's just reached out to me again, so another coach, and just like, okay, how do I create a container that really serves me? And not worry if it doesn't get created. Keep creating the containers that feel like they serve, and make at least a kind of a 3-month commitment every couple weeks, and let it grow. Let myself actually start doing the method, start doing the process, start doing the practices, and then debating whether I do this breakthrough experience in Toronto next. Loving what is, loving what is, loving what is. There's a part of me too, I'm just gonna bring this up. I've been noticed I have been attached to the people I work with and wanting to almost control their lives. This is the way you're supposed to do it. And as a practice for me, like that's the acceptance piece too, to let go of that, because there's a way that my mind definitely thinks I know the right answer, and just work with me and don't abandon me, don't betray me, don't exile me. And that's part of the fear. It's like you're going to do that if you start working with other people. Versus, okay, can I really get comfortable that you and I have a connection, and you have connections with others, and that benefits all of us, because as you connect with them, you're bringing back to me. As you're connected with me, you're bringing back to them. And that's what I really want, the free flow of trust, of exchange, of that currency. And that's not what I learned from one of my former teachers and some of my former teachers. And it's going back to, it's easier to almost keep things in separate boxes versus overlap boxes, versus create more and more philosopher kings, which can feel like it gets messy. And it's even going to this telepathy tapes that I've been listening to, that it gets messy. I can't even imagine if I had complete free flow of exchange of information all the time. People could read my mind, and people can. I look forward to, actually, this is the next layer of magic mirror work in a way, is stepping and being in a room with someone who is non-verbal, and actually having them being able to read my mind, and trusting that that process is actually serving, and trusting that I may be causing some discomfort, and trusting that as I am more and more able to be with them and have them be with me, and they're such a reflection of me, that that's going to elevate my consciousness. Because that really is transparency, intimacy. Like that level of intimacy, unfathomable in a way, and desirable. They're talking about being on this hill and having 1,700 people, 1,700 souls be there. And I can see that, like, this is such a crude form, and that's the same idea with speed reading, speed watching, all that stuff. But that's just making the current process faster. Part of it is really the nuance and seeing the nuance. Like, I love that they're saying, like, speech and talking is such a challenging thing, because you're modulating your voice, you're modulating your breath, you're modulating your facial muscles, you're modulating your energy. I can imagine there's a lot of my energy pouring into this. And I'm willing to pour into this because I'm improving my ability to master my facial muscles. I'm just doing some tongue exercises. And stretching the face out as well. I'm mastering these muscles. I'm going to practice and look at some of the face yoga soon to just practice doing different muscles, having different expressive muscles, what that might provide. And then noticing when I'm with someone, I'm really witnessing. That was part of the work I was doing yesterday, is like really helping them to see themselves and help them see that they're seeing themselves through my eyes, seeing them. And what it is with that self-judgment, just noticing the different layers, the subtle layers, the subtle layers, the subtle layers. And in that beauty of that, really exposing it, bringing it to the surface, bring that awareness to the surface. And with that awareness, once you see it, it's almost impossible to truly unsee it. And as I do that for others, I'm doing it for myself. That's part of this magic mirror work. I am seeing myself, and it's hard to unsee it. Like right now, the eyes actually feel more balanced than they have in a long time. Like I can see this right eye seems more open than usual, and it's still a single eyelid compared to the double eyelid, and that's okay. I'm not trying to fix it. I can even see that the muscles are just a little bit more prominent in that left side than the right side. All the muscles kind of pull this way a little bit. And not right or wrong. It's just noticing what's happened on the right side to have it be a little bit weaker. Right hand dominant and right brain creative dominant. That's what I'm working on, bringing up my creativity, while also bringing up the container of the left brain and the strength of it, the structure of it. This has been a fun one so far. This has been a fun magic mirror work. And I'm noticing even in the idea of fun, I'm self-praising, and the balance piece when I'm looking at the DeMartini method is like, oh, can I see all of it is fun? All of it is good. And it's in those moments, like when I was coming back from such a peak experience yesterday, I was like, okay, how do I chat with myself? How do I balance myself out? And then noticing the first thing I came back, I got a little bit of almost a slap in a way. It felt like a slap to me, and it wasn't, but it was purely a fear of unbalance. And I can see that fear, and then for me to be able to balance out right away and be like, others are able to see and say and experience and witness and reflect back whatever they want to see, say, witness, experience first. Now can I not have the ripple continue where it's like, I cannot believe that's how you responded to me. Because that was part of it. I wanted to be that way. And then that's for me to own. How's my response to the responses? How's my reaction to the reactions? And then yesterday noticing, like, I work in the strategy, story, state, like remodeling those. I work best when I come back to the state first. And then in those states, oh my God, the story and the strategy that just changes because of the channeling. Amazing. Amazing for that possibility. And then amazing for me to keep noticing in my mind, so much has changed, and then to let go of the change having to be there for the other person. It's creating the doorway to open, and only the other person can actually walk through. It's like myself in these magic mirror works. I'm creating the doorway for it to be open for me. And I'm choosing if I walk through in each moment. Noticing a little bit of tightness in my side, and part of me didn't want to start getting up. It's like, I'm so comfortable here, I'm doing it great. Now let's shift it up. Now let's shift it up. Let go of the idea of I'm doing it great even. Like, what does doing it great mean? What does doing it great mean? That somehow I am learning how to do this right. Like, there's a right way or a wrong way to do these recordings. Just taking a look outside, not a ton of rain right now. So, I'm gonna turn on the noise canceling. Make sure I have my keys. Gonna get outside in the sunshine for a second. The direct sunshine. Today is Wednesday. It is much later in the morning than usual for me. Boom, boom, boom. Again, this is my building, which you've seen before. Just making sure this is safe enough right where it is. And just stretching the shoulders. Stretching the wings. I was helping someone to unfurl their wing yesterday, working on the rear heart chakra as well, and just noticing the possibility there. It's a lot of fun. Opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing. And just working on stretching these wrists, these hands. They've been doing so much work, and trusting that they're not being overworked in the old way. And the neck, the connection with the brain and the body. And it's so much fun just imagining that we're in an electrical universe versus a physical universe versus the material universe. And that's such a reminder that we've been so steeped in the material universe and thinking that we understand neurons, we understand that they have to go through all these different chemical processes. which isn't untrue either. That's the tricky part. It's not that it's untrue, but there's layers upon layers upon layers. And the moment we think we know something, we exclude everything else, which is why Alan Watts is saying, the moment you see leaves as green, you're not seeing color, because there's so many different shades. And I'm looking out there, and if I could actually see that every tree was a slightly different hue, what would that be like? Instead, I'm lumping them in familiar, and it actually makes things more homogeneous. And the gray sky, even with every cloud, there's a different gradation of gray, so there's actually variation. And being able to see that variation, that contrast, even if it's soft. And then being able to see that, we make things so uniform over and over again, as if uniform is the right way to go. How do we have more creative free expression and not make it so busy in our sleep environment? Yeah, in our sleep environment, not make it so busy that it's making our mind busy. And